It's Cisvolk! Time to enjoy card making with me! This video is another video where I show you how you use your products. I had a lot of fun making different cards and they actually turned out to be love cards or Valentine themed cards. I am a bit late for the Valentine theme. I hope you don't mind and use the ideas for whatever occasion you need it. I will give examples of what you can do using different dies and stencils. I tried to show everything I used. Links for the products are always in the description below the video. You really help me out using them, thank you for that. And please click the thumbs up and write something in the comments. That will get my videos higher in the play ranking of YouTube. Now what I want to show you first is this envelope. This is a good example of how you can use a cover plate die. I cut out a heart out of red paper and also used the same heart die to cut out a part of the die cut from a cover plate die. It is this cover plate die. It also comes with a matching edge die. So I cut this one out of white paper first and next I cut it again with a heart die. I used these favorite heart dies. They are also from AlINA. I have an older package. The two die cut pieces I glued on top of each other and used as a closure sticker for the envelope. The card I made to go with this envelope is this one. So really quick and easy. I again used the same cover plate die. I glued it only on the bottom part of the card and cut the rest off. A little bow tie on the edge, glued using a glue dot. This is a heart from the same nesting heart die set. These dies are a must-have because they have stitch marks on both sides of the die, so you can use negative and positive parts. You might have seen another video I made using these dies. I will link to that video for you as well. Next I made this card. Here I combined multiple techniques and die cuts. Again I glued the two die cut pieces on top of each other. And on top of that I glued an extra die cut piece. It is a nested frame die, made out of two hearts that were cut at the same time. You also see me do this in the video with the cover plate die and hearts. See, I cut them to make a border that I could glue on top of a red heart. I also cut out solid white hearts. And I cut out solid red hearts that I stenciled beforehand. The stencil I used is this one. Really an awesome one and huge. I ink blended using white ink on thick red paper. I use white Memento Lux ink and used this detailed brush from AlINACRAFT to ink blend on top of it. Very easy to do. I will show you quickly how. On the brush I put a washi tape so it is a reminder for me that it is used for pigment ink. This is ink that stays wet longer and is a different kind of ink than water-based inks, so you don't want to mix them up. I saturate the brush with white ink. And then I choose the place where I want to ink blend. And because this brush is so small and detailed, you can blend small patterns or small words without having to mask spaces with tape if you blend carefully. Also, the ink can be applied very thick this way if you like. These brushes come in 3 different sizes. I only have a set of 15 flat brushes, but there is also a set of 15 angled brushes. The brush I am using at the moment is the biggest size flat brush, by the way. Look how beautiful this is. When it was dry, I added some white gel pen on the edges of the letters as well to make it even more white and give it more contrast. The text I used, sending love, and here the hug you tight, come from the Happy Stamps text with banner dies. It is a solid stamp with old texts. It is well used and loved. Here you see the hug you tight and the sending love is over here. Lots of love. Really a useful sentiment stamp to have in your stash. When you cut it, you get all banner texts. By the way, I heat embossed them with transparent embossing powder. It makes them embossed and shiny. I cut out lots of hearts in different sizes and glued the red ones randomly on the panel. On top of them I glued white hearts with some foam tape. The pieces that stuck over the edges I cut off and used again. Actually, for this card I only used 3 solid white hearts. That is this 1, 2 and 3. The red hearts I glued hanging over the panel. The card will look better if you do. All pieces I cut off the red hearts I used to stick on the edge of my matching envelope. No waste of paper and so much fun. This way you get a quick matching envelope. Then let's go to the next card. Also here I glued a piece of the cover plate die cut. I had to glue it sideways. My card is 10.5 cm wide, so that would be just a bit too wide for this die. But rotated a quarter turn it easily fits. It will also fit on a square card or slimline card. The cover plate die is an absolute favorite of mine. I made multiple cards with them, as you might have seen in earlier videos I made. Here I used the banner strip with hugs and kisses, also heat embossed with transparent embossing powder. The middle heart I will show you how to ink blend. Now we take a piece of white cardstock. Here I use 250 grams smooth DCP paper. My work mat is magnetic, so using these magnets the paper and stencil will stay in their position. I will ink blend this time using these 2 brushes from AlINACRAFT, and I will use a red ink to ink blend. This is the color Ladybug from Memento. I will first use this bigger brush. You see that with rotating movements you get a good and quick blend on the paper. With this flat medium brush I can add more details. You see, the ink can be applied more thick in one go. But if I only had this brush, it would be fine too for a whole panel. But do not only blend red ink. I also will mix it with a bit of pink and black to get a gradient in the pattern. This Memento color I use now is Rosebud. When we mix this, we see a new color emerging. And next we add a tiny bit of black. This brush already had some black Memento ink on it. This smaller one you can use to add some darker ink on one spot, or if you only want to ink blend small pieces. Well, then you get this effect, and you can cut it or die cut it or use as a background. Many possibilities. I could use this example as a background for a new card if I want. Just a heart on top and finished it is. So quick. There are a lot of different brushes to use for ink blending. I will show you the brushes again in detail. There is a bigger rounded brush with colored handle. There are mini sized brushes, which I absolutely like because of their flat surface. And there are these ones. They are absolutely a must-have because of the tiny details you can blend with them. You see, they come in 3 sizes. Here I show you some clean ones. They are very small and also have a flat surface, which to me is ideal for ink blending. To decorate the envelope, I used the mini blending brushes to add the word love to one corner. And as you see, I also did the shading on top of the text. Then the last inspiration card for you, on which I also used the same love stencil, but in combination with pigment colors from Crealise. There are pigment powders, like mica powders in combination with embossing powder. I used color number 4, orange red. I will demonstrate how I used it in combination with the stencil and the foam tool. We need a little bit of water. I spray a bit on my glass mat. It is really a little bit. Also we need a little bit of pigment colors. I tap a bit of that out of the bottle. Then we grab a sponge tool. This is the pretty pink one from AlINACRAFT. And we dip that into the water so that it becomes damp. We don't want it to feel wet. It still feels dry now. Then we dab the sponge into the powder. Just dab, no rotations. It is not picked up, the sponge is not damp enough, so I dip it into the puddle a little bit. It picks up the powders as is, so don't mix them up. It is still too dry. Better start too dry than too wet. Applying too wet will cause the ink floating underneath the stencil, giving a distressed result. Dabbing the sponge tool onto the stencil results in a nicely colored print. The color I use now for the example is another color as I used for the card I now see. This color is number 8, pink. A bottle of pigment colors contains a range of different colors. So if you look close up, there are many shades of pigment. Dabbing keeps these shades. When smearing, you would mix these colors. The more you apply, the darker it gets. These pigment powders are similar to shimmer powders, you might know them. But these have a glossy effect on them when you heat set it. Which I actually forgot to do, by the way, for this card. But I still could do that. The powders are dry, but the pieces of powder that give the embossed look are still there. I now spray some more water onto the powders on the glass mat and will show you how it looks when you apply it wet. You will get a different effect, and you also see a difference in color. You see, here I applied very lightly with dabbing motions using a damp sponge. Here my sponge got a bit more saturated and the result darker. And this part I did too wet for this kind of paper. The color has changed and the ink ran under the stencil. I personally like this part best, but if you like to apply the powder with more water, I would recommend watercolor paper. The blending sponges are interchangeable. They have Velcro on them and you can rinse them under the tap. Well, that were the cards for now. Really quick cards that are fun to make. When you combine a layer die, a cover plate die and a stencil, you can come to amazing results and make loads of cards to enjoy making and also to give as a gift to someone maybe. I hope you enjoyed watching and come up with new ideas. If you consider buying new products, please use the links provided below. They really help me out. It also makes my day when you like this video and add something in the comments. Thank you, it is really appreciated. All cards I make can be found on my Pinterest, Instagram and Facebook page Cisvolk. So you can check that out as well if you need more inspiration or want to save pictures for future card making. I wish you all a nice crafty day and enjoy card making. Bye bye!